Hi everyone! So this video is a DIY. We're going to use Retique-it, which is liquid wood, basically to turn your tables or countertops into wood. So you'll see how I do that in the video. It's a friend's kitchen. We're doing their countertops. You know the Amazon light that I got, I ended up breaking it, so this video is not as long as I would have liked it to be, but still I think you can see all the steps and you'll see how I did it, and I'm gonna go into detail about it as well. Before we start the video, I want to thank all my new subscribers for subscribing. Thank you so much, guys. And for the ones who are already here, thank you for the support. Thank you for your comments. They really motivate me. And let's get started. Okay, so it's 6 a.m. This is the before. Everything is brown. Even their cabinets used to be brown. They got them painted white. This is their little island area. And this is the after I did everything. We just did the counters and then realized we had to do the backsplash, so I ended up painting the backsplash as well. And now the whole thing seems to be, well, a completely different kitchen, to be honest. Here's my broken Amazon light. I couldn't even use it as a stand. Here's the first part, we clean. So we already used Mr. Clean and Windex and Dawn dish soap, and now we were gonna do 1 part alcohol, 1 part water, and just go over it one more time. I'm trying to clean here extra because there's a lot of caulking there because apparently they had a leak. Here's the unboxing of the product. So the Retique-it kit comes with the brush. It's a flat brush. They say you could just reuse the same one for all the steps. I had extra ones just in case. There's the steps. There's a QR code for help and for videos online. And now we're gonna get to the actual products. We went for the Retique-it French Oak, so it's not just the 3 steps: primer, stain, and top coat. There's an extra whitewash step. It also comes with this wood graining tool, and I'll show you how to use that as well. We didn't end up using the whitewash. I'll explain later. So here's the stain. This is the one with the 60% wood fibers that they keep advertising over and over in all their videos. Here's the primer. So this is what you put on first to make your wood look like, or your counter or whatever, look like pine. Here's the top coat, and apparently it's supposed to be really durable. Let's see how that goes. And here's the whitewash. When I applied the whitewash, it actually sort of dulled it, made it a little gray, but maybe when I looked it up online, French oak was supposed to be like that. Anyways, we liked the barnwood stain as is, so we just left it without using the whitewash. I had done it on a spot, so I ended up going over it again with the primer and then redoing the whole process just to get rid of it. Anyways, here's the primer after I had cleaned everything. It looked like coffee colored, but it's actually supposed to look like foundation colored, you know, skin foundation color. Anyways, so you got to really mix it well. Make sure it's fully mixed before you start applying the coats. Now on the instructions it says 2 coats and you're good, but I needed to do 3 because I felt like it still the actual countertop still kind of showed there was a bit of bleed through, so, and I didn't want to risk it, so I ended up doing 3 coats, and we still have a little bit of product left, so I'm glad we had more than enough product for the countertops to do 3 coats. Now here is where I come across my first problem. First off, none of their tutorial videos show taping up anything because they're always doing it on planks of wood or a countertop that's basically an island where you don't need to tape up the wall. So anything that got on the tape actually was dangerous because this is building like it's liquid wood, so it's building a layer of wood on top of everything. Anything that got on the tape and I tried to take the tape off was ripping off those layers that I had put on, which is basically the countertop, the primer, the grain and everything. And so I had to, there was another spot that I had to redo from scratch because the tape had peeled it off. So I had to go around the thing very carefully and use an X-Acto knife to cut through the tape and make sure that it didn't sort of peel all the way, and I had to go over it with a top coat to make sure it was covered. Here's another problem I came across. Now I'm doing it around the sink, and there was a lot of caulking around it because apparently they had a leak, and the primer would not stick to it at all, whatever I did. So then I had to come up with another solution. I needed a primer for the primer. So what I did was I got a spray paint primer, and I spray painted around that area. It's still not neat, and around the sink, they don't really explain that in their tutorials, how to get it to go all the way down the edge neatly. And if the sink area is still a problem, and I'm gonna have to come up with a solution for that later on. The sink was going inward, like the countertop was sitting on top of the sink. If it was not sitting on top of the sink, I think it would have been easier for me, although going to an edge is an issue on its own, and I'll explain that as well with the when I'm at the edge of the walls, and how it's difficult to use the wood graining tool to make the nice grooves. Here I am staring at my problem, trying to figure out what to do, because the caulking is like plastic and the primer is not sticking to it. So now I'm thinking, okay, let me sand, hoping that it would help if I sand more. Started sanding the rest of the countertop to make sure that the primer sticks to it properly, and I didn't want to sand off the caulking because it is helping the leak, so I couldn't really go in and do that. But I have to figure out another solution for the counter that's going inward. So this is what it looks like. The primer is not sticking to the area that has, look at it, that has a caulking. So I ended up using spray paint primer, I'll show you just now, to spray paint it, and it actually worked. It created a layer, and then I ended up putting primer on top of it. Another issue was that their island area had peel and stick wallpaper on it, and because she had hated her countertops for a while, when I took that off, that wasn't really cleaning properly. That took a really long time for me to clean. So this is me doing the second coat, and I'm going to go over the primer now that it's dry. This thing should have, like, the whole process should have taken me maybe one whole day, but like lots of hours. By one whole day I mean like 14 hours or so. But because of the island being so sticky and me having to clean it for a really long time, this whole thing took me about 3 days off and on, coming back to her place. I thought maybe I would have to skip the counter and do it another week, but my daughter and her daughter helped me clean the counter. After I had given up, I was so tired. So they helped me clean the island, and they got all the sticky glue off, and then I was able to do at least a primer on the island for the first on the first day. So that was really helpful that it actually got done, so I could take proper after pictures and videos as well. So here I'm doing the second coat on the primer, like I mentioned, but I'm gonna need to do a third one because there was still a lot of bleed through, because I believe the countertop was just too dark. The brown kept showing or bleeding through, so I did a third layer. And once again, it's building a whole kind of layer, just like a peel and stick wallpaper. Imagine having a liquid peel and stick wallpaper and just putting it on, but if you put it on tape and then you try to take the tape off, it's going to take the wallpaper off, right? So the same way this was an issue. So here, because I didn't have the stand to hold my phone, I had to get my daughter to make a video of when I first used the wood stain and the grain to make the wood effect. Mind you, I am doing this for the first time ever, so technically in that sense it is doable and easy. However, you need to have some sort of experience in painting or doing some home reno DIY stuff for you to get it done properly. If you don't have any experience and you start to do this for the first time, I would say that this would not be a good idea. It's not that easy. It's easy, but not that easy. You know what I mean? Okay, so you're supposed to do a thin layer, and I think I did a thicker layer than I was supposed to, and I was quite nervous, so that's why I'm taking my sweet time. But yeah, I should have wiped it off a little more and give it a thinner layer, and then that just means I would have had to use the wood graining tool a little harder, which I did end up doing, because this whole counter that I'm doing right now I had to redo because I did the whitewash on it, and the whitewash made it really dull, and even though in the videos they say you can go over it with the stain again and do it again until you like the color, I did do the stain again on it, but it didn't come back to the I would say the brighter wood color that we liked. So I had to reapply the primer on it and redo the wood graining tool and the stain to get back to the original color because I had used the whitewash. So here I'm using the grain tool for the first time. It started off nice, but then there's this whole chunk that was missing, and then, you know, they say it's quite forgiving. You just go over it again, which I did, and then until you get it right, until you figure out how you want it. You see how on the edge it's coming, you're supposed to bring the grain tool down all the way. That was not easy to do either. It wasn't giving the wood effect, it was just like smudgy lines. So I had to go over it a few times. I still wouldn't say that I was completely happy with the edge, like when it goes down, but on the other side where I could just take the wood graining tool all the way, that was fine. So again, one more thing, it's better to start, if I'm starting at the edge of the wall, see, it's like doing that thing again, so I try to go over it again, but no, I just have to repaint it anyway. So when I'm starting at the edge of the wall, it was hard to get a nice sort of wood grain, so it was best to do from the middle of the wood grain instead of the edge of the wood grain, because you're supposed to move it in a way where it's kind of like going up and down like a seesaw movement. And the faster you do it, seems like it is better. But just when you're towards the wall and starting there, it's best to put the wood graining tool down middle first and then go down instead of the edge of the wood graining tool. So here's what I ended up doing. It looks fine. The edging is not neat though. All the way towards the wall is not neat, and I wasn't really happy with coming vertically down, but across was fine, as long as I got to do one swift movement. So here I am showing you guys once again, now that I have a little more practice. It's better to go faster, and then you can go over it again just to see if you get a better sort of grain. Here was the result. This side of the counter is fine, the edge. This side not so much, and towards the wall not so much. I didn't really like it, but when I had to redo that other counter, I realized you have to put the wood graining tool middle first on the edge of the wall, not the edge of the wood graining tool. I hope that makes sense. Here I am doing the second coat. So you're supposed to do 2 coats of after you're done the wood graining tool, you layer it again with the stain. This is the same one with the wood fibers, and you go over it again one more time to give it that full effect. So here's the before one more time. This was the before, all brown granite top and the brown backsplash, and then this is the after. I had done the wood graining and everything and the top coat. So they said for countertops, do the top coat 3 times, and each time is a 2-hour dry time wait. So I did it 3 times, and on the
island I did it 4 times. So here I am now painting the backsplash white. I just ended up using my chalk paint that I use for furniture because it's really versatile and it has primer and everything in it. And so because this was just like a spur of the moment, like let's just do the backsplash too because it's not going well with the wood countertop now. So I just started doing the backsplash. I did a first quick layer, and then some of these backsplash tiles were really dark and there was bleed through, so it was better for me to go over them with a smaller brush like this. And then I used the same top coat that I used on the countertop to go over the walls, the backsplash as well. So I gave it 2 layers, and I think they need the trim as well. So they don't have a trim. I guess whoever did the kitchen didn't put a trim. I think if they were to get sort of a white trim to go in between the counter and the backsplash, that would just bring everything together more neatly. Because right now where the countertop meets the backsplash is not neat, partly because of my wood graining tool abilities, and because we're painting it, it was just difficult, and getting that tape off was just a whole mission on its own. So just to recap, the dry times for each of these steps varies. The top coat for sure takes 2 hours, and no compromising that. The primer and the wood graining stain was the fastest to dry. The primer you can dry with a hair dryer or a heat gun or something, or just have a space heater if you wanted, and it was drying much faster than an hour. I did the smaller countertop with the hair dryer, and it was dry within 15 minutes. So that helped. That was just the primer part. Okay, now the wood grain, I did that and I left it. I didn't use the hair dryer on that, and it was pretty fast anyways. So here's the before one more time where you can see the backsplash and the brown, and here's the after we did the backsplash and the wood counter, and it looks so much better, especially now with the cabinets that were white. Everything sort of comes together and looks better overall. Here's the island before, and here's the after we were done. It definitely looks good. Again, I think we need a trim on the edge of that one too. The wood grain color looks different in different lighting, but either way it looks great. I hope you guys found value in this video. If I were to do this again, I would not do it on countertops. Straight up, I would do it on a table, I would do it on an island, but not countertops. I wouldn't do it on anywhere that has a wall or something that's restricting the wood graining tool, you know what I mean? I learned a lot using this product, and it is a great product if you don't want to actually put wood planks. So I think it is a great product to use, just not on countertops. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please remember to subscribe. Bye.